Today we're looking at an AR-15 barrel manufactured by Faxon. I purchased this barrel I think in 2019. I haven't used it much. It maybe has about 2,000 rounds or so through it. It's 14.5 inches with a pin and welded muzzle brake. The barrel has Faxon's gunner profile, which makes it fairly lightweight, and most of the weight is biased towards the rear. It has a 5.56 NATO chamber and a 1:8 twist. The gas port measures 0.082 inches, which makes it a little bit overgassed. And the barrel has been nitride treated inside and out. Next up, we're going to take a look through the bore scope. Here's a look at the throat. A little bit of fire cracking at the beginning, but not a whole lot of drama. The rifling looks to have some horizontal tool marks throughout the bore. And here's a look at the gas port, which has pretty minimal wear on it. And here's a look at the crown. To get a good feel for what a barrel is capable of, I like to shoot 30-shot groups. I do this for a few reasons. First, a larger sample size makes sure that I didn't just get lucky. With a 5-shot group, I might get lucky and have 5 shots that land close to each other. With a 30-shot group, I'm not going to get lucky for 30 shots in a row. This makes the results very repeatable and trustworthy. The second reason why I like 30-shot groups is because it replicates how I shoot my AR-15s. I shoot multi-gun, DMR, and accurized AR style matches where I shoot around 30 shots per stage. So, I like to test my barrels and see how they would do over the course of a full stage. There are various things I could manipulate if I wanted to shoot the smallest groups possible, but I want to see what this barrel can really do with how I plan to use it. So 30 shots it is. With that out of the way, here's my range setup and the equipment I'll be using. All shots will be fired at 100 yards as measured with a laser rangefinder. The rifle will be shot off a bench with a front rest and a rear bag to create a stable shooting platform. Wind will be monitored with a ribbon attached to the target. Each group will take about 4 minutes to shoot and will be edited down to about 15 seconds. During assembly, the upper receiver barrel nut threads and barrel flange were lubricated with Aeroshell 64. The barrel nut was torqued to 40 foot-pounds. Headspace was checked with Forster headspace gauges with 7 different bolts. All BCGs had previously been gauged and inspected. All bolts closed on a 223 go gauge. All bolts also closed on a 223 no-go gauge, but did not close on a 223 field gauge. This indicates that the barrel does have some wear on it, but is still serviceable. Ultimately, the barrel was paired with a bolt carrier group from Psionics. The handguard is free-floated. Gas tube alignment was checked to avoid binding with the upper receiver. A 3-inch bag rider has been attached to the bottom of the handguard to increase the stability of the rifle during shooting. When mounting the bag rider to the M-lock slots, short screws were used to avoid possible contact with the barrel. An A5 receiver extension is installed with an A5 H2 buffer and Sprinco green spring. The trigger is a Guiley 2-stage super dynamic 3-gun trigger with a straight trigger bow. The barrel was cleaned prior to this range trip with 10 rounds fired before shooting the first group to foul the barrel and to adjust point of impact. The scope is a Vortex Viper 6.5 to 20 by 44. Scope ring torque was confirmed at 15 inch-pounds. Magnification is set at 20 and parallax is set at 100 yards. After each group, the barrel will be cooled with a chamber chiller to allow for even comparison between ammunition types. The target is a 1-inch square grid. The target was leveled front to back and placed squarely towards the shooter position to prevent distortion of the results. The point of aim is a small circle at the bottom of the target. The rifle is zeroed, so the point of impact is 3.5 inches up from the point of aim. This preserves the point of aim by avoiding shooting holes in it. The velocity of each shot will be measured with an optical chronograph. The chronograph is placed 8 yards from the muzzle of the rifle to avoid muzzle blast triggering the sensors and introducing velocity errors. A shade is used to block direct sunlight and prevent errors caused by reflections. A Mantis X10 Elite is mounted to the front of the handguard. It is used to help assess the stability of the rifle immediately prior to firing and determine if any shots should be discounted due to excessive shooter-induced movement. The groups will be measured by the Ballistic X app. Scans of the targets are taken on a flat surface with the Adobe Scan app. This ensures the images are flat to avoid distortion that could alter the measurements. All the equipment and ammunition were paid for by me. Today we'll be shooting 4 different types of ammunition. First, I have some hand loads with 77 grain Sierra Match King bullets in AR comp powder. The second group will be Federal Gold Medal 69 grain Sierra Match Kings. After that, we have some Norma 55 grain training and range ammo. And last, we have some cheap 55 grain reloads with Hornady bullets and Shooter's World tactical rifle powder. All right, let's do it. Alright, the Faxon barrel not looking too bad to start things off with here. The 77 grain Sierra Match Kings ended up with a mean radius of 0.64 MOA and a group size of 2.6 MOA. Next up we have a factory load of Federal Gold Medal 69 grain Sierra Match Kings. Let's see if they can do any better. The 69 grain Sierra Match Kings had a mean radius of 0.68 MOA and a group size of 2.6 MOA. This group looks pretty similar to the 77 grain hand loads. Next up, we'll see if the Faxon can hold together with the 55 grain Norma. Not exactly a great group out of the Norma 55s. Not that this is exactly match grade ammo, but there's definitely some room for improvement. The 55 grain Norma ended up with a mean radius of 1.22 MOA and a group size of 5.6 MOA. Next up, we're going to try another 55 grain load. So this 55 grain load is made to be cheap, not accurate, and it shows. Not exactly great performance out of this 55 grain hand load, but not too far behind the 55 grain Norma considering how cheap it is. Anyway, let's check out the overall results. Just a reminder that this only represents how I was able to shoot this barrel with this ammo on this day with my shooting skills. Your results may or may not be the same. Anyway, the 77 grain Sierra Match Kings ended up with best group of the day, and that was closely followed up with the Federal Gold Medal 69 grain Sierra Match Kings. Both had groups with a mean radius in the 0.6 MOA range and group sizes close to 2.6 MOA. Then things dropped off quite a bit with both 55 grain loads. The 55 grain groups were basically double the size of the heavier loads. Here's a look at the leaderboard. Keep in mind this isn't a completely fair comparison. These barrels were shot in different weather conditions and slightly different shooting positions and so on. But it's as fair as I can get it, and I think it's fairly interesting information. But anyway, Faxon came in a fairly close second behind the Roscoe Purebred barrel from last video. They both shot best with 77 grain Sierra Match Kings. We might revisit these barrels later with some different ammo. So let me know if there's any particular ammo you would like to see me put through these barrels or any barrels in the future. I won't make any promises since ammo isn't getting any cheaper, but I'll see what I can do. That'll do it for the Faxon barrel for now. Stay tuned. I have a couple more barrels coming up and a couple fun videos that I think will be interesting. Also, let me know if you'd like to see anything different in the videos. I know the target cam footage for this video kind of sucked, so I'll get that squared away for next time. But if there's anything else, let me know in the comments. Anyway, see you next time. Later.